All right, one more minute. Gather your thoughts before we go around the room. Great. So let's start in the back of the room. Trey, what were you thinking about? Yeah, either one. Persuasion. Yeah. So improve your ability to persuade. And we're gonna kind of write down some of your all's ideas, but I understand they might overlap or be the same. But Logan?
I was just thinking number two, it's kind of no matter what you do in life, you're gonna have some type of people skills and most likely be able to persuade or inform someone different ways.
Yeah, so for any career. In my 20s, I worked as a fundraiser, a journalist, a teacher, and I use this in every single job. Logan? Other Logan?
So I thought about number two as well, and I kind of thought of the same thing as the other Logan, just like, yeah, no matter what you do. I thought about number two as well, and I just thought how you can improve your communication with people that work in the community.
Improve communication, good. Let's jump across there, DeAndre.
Well, I thought about number one, to think logically.
For what?
To think logically.
Think logically, good. Great answer. All right, Danya.
Basically said the same thing, like it pushes writers to like look at their audience and like think more about like how you can persuade people to like get on your side about that certain issue.
Right, analyze audience. That's a good point. And how you can persuade them. Great. Alan.
I answered the first one. I said it helps us analyze any ideas that are given to us a little better.
Yeah, so I like that you said that. Analyze ideas that are given to us. Overall.
Throughout our careers, we probably have to write a lot of papers, so I think it can help us become a better writer just by its nature.
Yeah. Well, depends on what you do, but you'll probably have to write a lot these next 4 years. Good. Ava.
For number one, I just said it like kind of can make like a more like well-rounded like conversation and like paper and stuff.
Good. Let's go. Austin.
So for me personally,
Yeah.
number two wouldn't work with my major because I'm majoring in learning a language. So rhetoric wouldn't be very much for mine. So for mine, it'd be one. I think what people study rhetoric would probably be just more for, let's say, law or science related majors. So that way they're able to convey information to both their peers as well as others who may not necessarily know the whole, may not know as much as they do. So they're able to relay information properly to both sides in either writing or in a presentation.
Yeah, so thinking about analyzing your audience, but what I'm hearing from you that's important is making sure your message is clear, the information is needed. Because that will change based on what your audience knows.
Mine kind of was along the same lines, but just like gives you the ability to talk to large, like different types of people, and you're like you're not just set on, like you're not, how do I say it? You know what I'm trying to say, like you
Yeah.
talk to many different types of people and get a different point across, and like you're not just set on one.
That's good, yeah, some versatility, I'll put it up here, in your language, and being able to adapt depending on who you're talking to. That's great. Olivia?
I think going off of like analyzing ideas that we're given, I think it allows us to understand what we're talking about more when we're trying to convince someone else to believe that, or like to understand what we're talking about, and like prompts us to dig deeper into what actually we're talking about.
Yeah. Good. Understand our message, I'm gonna put. Sorry, I'm not doing you all justice with your responses, but I'm trying to fit them up here. Dara.
So I just kind of said that it like helps out with critical thinking skills, which kind of applies to both questions.
Yeah. And that goes with analyzing ideas that we receive, but critical thinking, logical thinking, those are all important.
For number one,
Josie.
it kind of goes with the improving communication, but it's important to learn how to present your ideas to others.
Yeah. Clear, again, with the audience, getting a clear message, how to present your idea. Junior.
I did number one, and I was thinking like, you could use it like defend your thoughts on something.
Yeah, so understand our message and be able to defend it. Great, Bliss. So I want to do all this because the activity we're going to be working on today might seem kind of silly or not relevant, but it's just to practice looking at existing text, breaking those down into their components, and figuring out what we can learn from them, either by what they did successfully or what they did unsuccessfully. So by using rhetorical analysis, we can do all of these things that you guys talked about. By looking at a rhetorical text, which is really anything that anyone is trying to get a message across, we can either copy what we like or avoid what we don't like in order to do all of these things you guys are bringing up. So I'll just share, I put my own thoughts up into here a little bit. So yeah, rhetorical analysis, the chapter you all read today about breaking text, speeches, advertisements into individual components, finding those concepts, questions, directions, and moves that are successful in the piece, imitating those successes for your own work. So we're going to practice imitation a bit today. We're actually going to do we're going to do like a writing activity, but it's your homework for next week. So you came to class, you get to work on your homework. And another thing I think is important is being able to identify when an argument is poorly constructed or someone is trying to like manipulate you, whether that's, you know, an individual person in your life or an advertisement, a politician, social media, kind of being able to understand what a logical argument looks like and identify when an argument is illogical. Yeah.
Aren't there some argument types that are meant to be manipulative?
Yeah, well, there's like the rhetorical fallacies, which we will dive into a little later. And yeah, I mean, you can use manipulation certainly to persuade people, but is it ethical? Like, that is a bigger question, I think. Does that answer your question at all?
Kind of.
Yeah, so there, yeah, I mean, people use forms that are manipulative all the time, but I think determining whether it's like an ethical use of persuasion or not is opinion-based, would be a whole discussion that we could have. Do you have, yeah, I can try to go more into it if I'm not quite answering your question.
No, it was just I just figured
Yeah.
that there was at least one or two argument forms that were kind of more manipulative as compared to the other ones that are just here's facts, here's this and this, and there's some that just
Yeah, definitely exists, and they can be useful and they can work. I think just in our study of rhetoric, it's focusing on the most ethical way of persuading someone and trying to avoid those. And I think understanding rhetoric and rhetorical analysis can help you identify that and avoid like kind of falling into those traps. So we talked about this last week maybe, the 4 elements of every rhetorical situation. Do you all remember what those are? A couple of them are just like really fancy words for simple concepts. Yeah, Dara.
Exigence.
Exigence, good job. And what's exigence?
Really know how to say it.
Yeah, so that's a problem that you're trying to solve. And the only caveat with exigence is the problem must be something that you can solve. So the example I gave in class is, it's pointless to write a speech about how it should only rain on cornfields because no one can make it only rain on a cornfield. But it does make sense to argue, oh, you shouldn't have a tennis match when the court is wet because someone could get hurt. So looking at what you can actually control. So exigence is the problem that you're trying to solve, but the problem must have a solution. Good. Exigence, what else? Try. Audience, good. Audience, yeah, who you're speaking to. So we have the rhetor. Do you all remember what that means?
The speaker.
Yeah, good. And constraints. Anybody remember what that means? That's kind of anything that affects the argument that is not the problem itself, the audience, or the speaker. So a constraint is a PowerPoint, because I'm not writing an essay about this lesson. I'm putting up terms that I think are important on the board. This would look different if I were to write a paper about rhetorical analysis. This would look different if I were to write Instagram post about rhetorical analysis. So constraints can be the genre of the argument, whether it's an advertisement, an essay, or a constraint can just be like the political, social climate, the context of which the argument is being made. So progymnasmata. Are you studying Greek by chance?
No, Japanese.
Because I have looked up how to pronounce that word at least 5 times and still can't remember. But It's in the book on page 140, and basically it's an ancient Greek study that it was used in schools when people were first starting to learn rhetoric in 5 years before Christ. You take, based on the genre of what you're analyzing, you would pick one of the 14 and kind of work through a few questions it gives you. But no matter what, all of them have the same 4 steps to complete this activity. Those are on page 140 of your book. Does anyone know what those are? So your first step is going to be to read the text, listen to the speech, watch the video, determine the exercise that corresponds to the text. So those are all in here. 14 of them. Complete the steps of that particular exercise and then evaluate the success of the text and then rewrite the text in your own words. So this is a lesson in imitation. So we're going to try it with a little story. So let's read this out loud. I'll start in the front this time, and we'll just read a paragraph each till it's over. So Junior, can you start us out with this first paragraph, and then we'll go to Josie, Darrell, Olivia.
There once was a shepherd boy who was bored as he sat on the hillside watching the village. To amuse himself, he took a great breath and sang out, "Wolf, wolf!" The wolf is chasing the sheep.
The villagers came running up the hill to help the boy drive the wolf away, but when they arrived at the top of the hill, they found no wolf. The boy laughed at the sight of their angry faces.
Don't cry wolf, shepherd boy, said the villagers, when there's no wolf. They went grumbling back down the hill.
Later the boys sang out again, wolf, wolf, the wolf is chasing the sheep. To his naughty delight, he watched the villagers run up the hill to help him drive the wolf away.
When the villagers saw no wolf, they sternly said, "Save your frightened songs for when there is really something wrong. Don't cry wolf when there's no wolf."
But the boy just grinned and watched them go grumbling down the hill once more.
And then Amari, if you could go next.
Later he saw a real wolf prowling among his flock. Alarmed, he leaped to his feet and sang out as loudly as he could, "Wolf, wolf."
But the villagers thought he was trying to fool them again, and so they didn't come.
Vocal.
At sunset, everyone wondered why the shepherd boy hadn't returned to the village with their sheep. They went up the hill to find the boy. They found him weeping.
There really was a wolf here. The flock had scattered. I cried out, "Wolf, why didn't you come?"
An old man tried to comfort the boy as they walked back to the village.
And DeAndre.
Where have you looked for the lost sheep of the morning yesterday? In his own round you, a light leads away, even in his touch.
Good job. Have you all heard this before? Do you know what genre this is?
It's like a folktale or something.
Folktale, yeah, or a fable. So it's a short story designed to teach a lesson. This is one of Aesop's like classic fables, used a lot with children. Like if your parents were trying to make you stop lying, they might have told you this story. Good. So we've read the text, step 1. We've determined the genre of the text, fable. These are the 5 questions that we want to ask for a fable. And the book has this for narrative, maxim, refutation, but we're just doing fable because it's short and easy. So who is the actor in this fable?
The boy.
The boy, yep. And what is the actor doing?
Crying wolf.
Good. Yeah, there's no trick questions here, but it's just so simple, you all. And when is the action happening? So over the course of how much time? A day, good. And how is this action happening? Just summarizing what happened.
He yells wolf.
Yeah, yells wolf to the shepherd. Good. And why is he calling wolf? Yeah, great. Oh, not there yet. So, then the book asks us to ask ourselves, does it have the structural components of an effective narrative? So, basically, is this a successful story to get its message across, which is you shouldn't lie? Yeah, that's opinion based. Great.
I would say yes because I would say most people, if not almost most people in the U.S. would know this story.
Yeah.
Because we have the phrase "dog crying wolf,"
Right.
so which alludes back to this story.
Yeah. So that is, and I'm not saying we have to answer all these questions here, but just to show you all when you're completing rhetorical analysis, that's a great thing to think about. Like, why is this so successful? Why has it become so standard? You know, Aesop has plenty of fables, but this is probably the most famous one. And you can look at these elements, think about these elements, and try to understand why this is so lasting. Great. So then the last step is to rewrite the fable. So we'll take 15-ish minutes. It's 10:26, and we'll go to 10:40 because I'll give you all your homework real quick before I send you. So I want you all to rewrite this fable. Think about these components, so your actor, action, time, manner, cause, and you want to make it your own. So you want to change your actor, change the action, but think about like the essence of the text and how you can kind of accomplish the same thing, a fable about not lying. Your short writing assignment, number 5, the one that's due next week, is to complete one of these, and you can pick fable and do and turn in what you work on today, just so you all know. So I'm gonna give you guys, 13 minutes now. We'll go to 10:40 to get started on that. And if you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll come to you, or you can bring your computer up here.